Hey, it's Dorleen. Welcome to my channel and my creative life. I am working on a few layouts. This is finishing up my Memphis trip. So I went to a crop and I put together pictures and some embellishments, but I didn't actually finish the pages. So these are where they started. I'm not going to go over all of this, but I'm going to show you how I'm completing them. I do this a lot when I go to crops because I pack a lot, but you know how it is when you, or if maybe you don't, but if you've gone to a crop, you feel like you pack your whole entire craft room. And then when you get there, you realize, oh, I didn't have this, or this. I don't like to take my Cricut to crops just because it's just big and bulky and I just don't want to do that. A lot of times when I know what I'm working on, I will pre-cut the titles or embellishments. But when we went to this crop, I don't know why I knew about it for a month, but I just waited to the last minute and I really just packed up photos and cardstock and things like that. So I didn't do any Cricut cuts. For this particular one, we went to Sun Studios and we really did feel like it was a must do. So this was pretty simple. I am actually out of state. And so I don't have my little notes on my craft desk to tell you exactly what font that I used, but it's just a basic font in the Cricut design space. And then I did the triangle around it just to add a little bit more like a title. I thought it stood out a little bit more. So I went ahead and used my precision glue press. I love the fine tip on it. It really helps on this type of thing. And I just put glue all around the back of the must do and then just using my my grid to make sure, or at least to make it straight-ish. I always say I make sure things are straight. I don't know if anything's straight. I feel like even when I use my T-square ruler, things are not straight, but it's the best I can do. So I kept those long lines that were on the font. That was actually part of the font. It wasn't something that I added, but it did make it a lot easier to glue and attach to the layout. And then I knew I was going to do some strip journaling, and so I pulled out this particular sheet that has the journaling already on strips with the adhesive back. Now, if you don't have this, you can definitely just use white cardstock or whatever color cardstock and then just add your adhesive and your strips. I like to do my strip journaling in I'm going to call it like brick style. I don't even know if that's what it's called, but that's probably the best way I can describe it. So I don't think, I like the way it looks because it looks interesting. So just it's not all the same length. It's not all, adhered down in the same spot, nice and neat. I feel like if I was going to do that, I might as well just make a journaling box and then lines and then write on it. Believe me, there's nothing wrong with that. But I know when I do the strips, I do like to just kind of have them a little wonky. Sometimes one of the strips might just have one or two words to finish a sentence. But one thing I always do is when I'm writing, because sometimes I don't know exactly how long it's going to be, and here's a perfect example. So I cut it so I could put the part that I needed down that didn't overlap the photos, and then the remainder of that sentence went down below. But see, and that's going to happen again here. So a lot of the words, I have a little bit more space between them so I can do this and it's not really noticeable. But I love this. It just kind of adds a little bit more interest. The one thing I do like about this is, so the postcard that I have in the middle of this that says Sun Studio, if you notice, there was a darker yellow on the left side and a lighter one on the right side. So that's what I did, or I used on my layout base, is I used a lighter yellow on the left side, which had the darker yellow on the postcard, and then the opposite on the other side. So I don't know if you noticed that, but when I saw that, I thought, oh, I have to do that. Like, that just worked out. And then those records over there on both the left and the right are Brad's that I almost completely forgot that I had purchased. So that was a lot of fun. So I moved this over and I think, you know what, I feel like it needs something. I'm going to be honest with you, I totally forgot that I had this stamp set, and I was looking for just music notes because I just thought it would be cute to have some stamped around. And then I saw this stamp set and I thought, guitar, I'm adding you. Now, the one thing when you're stamping, or in my situation, sometimes I get a little nervous because stamping directly onto the layout, because not a lot of times you might not get a good solid image of your stamped image. So I was kind of crossing my fingers, and then I pressed as hard as I could and pulled it off, and it looks perfect. I was so happy about that because that would have been horrible. I would have figured out a way to fix it, but it still would have been horrible. So then I went ahead and just stamped some music notes here and there because, again, that's just adding more design. Now you notice on that one, I did have a little smudge in the middle. Look at, I'm not even going to worry about that. It doesn't really ruin it that much. Now, if I was a perfectionist, I would have lost my mind over that one, but I was okay with that. And I just stamped, like I said, a couple of more music notes on that just to add a little bit more fun because you know what? Why not? So there's that layout. That one's done. And I've done a lot of my Memphis layouts that I've already shown you. So if you want, you can go back to my playlist and look at just the scrapbooking playlist and you can look for those. Now this one was pretty much done. I am going to add a flip flap over there with the photo I just showed you. I am going to go ahead and add some music notes as well because why not? I have it out. But one thing I wanted to point out is over there on that left hand side where I have that Cricut or that turquoise wonky triangle. So that was a Cricut cut, and you could see it better on this side too. But I didn't want an album over here because this is now the beginning of the Civil Rights Museum. So I did this shape, a circle with the Martin Luther King image, and then also a quote of his in Design Space, put it all together, and then I flattened it. So that's a print and cut. I love it, and I'm just going to cover it right there, cover that LP right there, and I just love that. So on the other side, when you saw the Sun Studio, I had that sticker there, so it worked, even though I didn't use the image as cut. And then here are some photos of the Civil Rights Museum again. Excuse me, I have another print and cut that I did there, and then I'm going to cut out the title, which basically just says Civil Rights Museum, and I used two different fonts. You can tell the museum is the same font I used in one of the other layouts, and then the Civil Rights is just a different, like a script font. But I really like that. I think it adds interest. And then what I absolutely love is, so I cut out 3 different of these fists, and I did them in 3 different skin tone colors. This is the lighter one. There's a medium brown, and then there's a black one. Oh, I love that addition. I think it looks so great there. Now, these little tiny pieces, they, I almost considered taking them off and maybe doing print and cuts on them, but I had already cut them and they actually cut really well. It was just because it was a small image and it was a lot. So I used my pair of tweezers, to put them where they're supposed to go. So I had an idea, made sure I had all the fingers cut and that kind of stuff. And then I used it's a sheet, it's called Sticky Specs. And this is perfect for when you have small images. I'm just using my, again, glue press and some glue for the title. Didn't show you too much of that. I'm going to use acrylic blocks just to kind of hold it down because sometimes a lot of that glue, it's not so much that it dries, it'll warp, but because there's just so much of it, I feel like you just need a little bit more pressure. But again, I'm going to go back to the fist, sorry. So this is my, like I said, Sticky Specs. No, it comes in an 8.5 by 11, or it might even be 8 by 10 sheet. So I cut it in quarters. And this was kind of recommended by the lady who was showing this at the expo that I went to last year. And it's also a good idea because it's just easier to work with. But basically you put those pieces down and then you just kind of rub it, make sure that the stickiness is on the small parts, and then you pull them off and then there you go, right? But again, because the pieces were so small, it was a little bit time consuming, and that's why I'm super speeding it because it probably took me like forever. But anyhow, I love the addition, like I said. Now, the only thing is when I was creating things or when I was cutting things in Design Space, I thought of the other layouts, this layout, but what I didn't think about was the second side or the right side of this particular layout. So right now I have a lot of photos. I have so much to say about the Civil Rights Museum. I am going to tell you, if you ever go to Memphis, you need to go. It is so, I'm not even sure the right word to use, overwhelming. It's emotional. It is so interesting. And it was, we cried, and there's a whole area across the street where the shooter was who shot Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And we had to leave because we were so full of emotion. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. So if you get that chance, you definitely need to go. And I think I was going to do some strip journaling, and then I just thought, I don't know what I want to say. So I am going to do a flip flap there, and that way I can add more journaling. I just didn't get a chance to do it then. And then this is the actual final page where it's just a pocket, and I just have everything that didn't fit in the layout. I did a QR code for some music that we listened to in Memphis, which is great. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And like I said, thanks for watching. Bye.